Well, welcome back to the Football Fanatic podcast. Joined with Dan and Lenny, who's back to tell us all about the wonderful Leeds and their championship heroics. And Dan will try not to gloat too much, I suppose. Won't you, Dan? Promise
Well,
me I won't have to listen to
the
too much
two
Liverpool
champions
side.
here in the group, Andrew, Lenny,
Good,
myself, and
yeah,
yourself.
Yeah, and I'm just
that's it.
languishing here in 16th, ready to continue long. But we might have Howard join us as we go on. We weren't here last week, so we have a lot to get through this week. Len, we brought you on this week to give us a breakdown of I suppose the last time they won it, it was during COVID. You didn't really get the proper experience. Tell us how did it feel this time? Leeds getting over the line in the most dramatic fashion. 100 points plus. What a season.
Yeah, well, they winning the title, on the last kick of the game, more or less, was good. But it wasn't the real jeopardy, like say for the promotion, but it was still nice to get it. It would have been very, very anticlimactic if they just kind of petered out in second place. Uh, so yeah, it was good to get up and have a few games kind of to play and just kind of have no pressure on the team and lifted celebrating on the road and then obviously 5 years ago, as you know well, Dan, it was a very weird time winning it out. But I think they had a big old hoolie there last Monday week there, the bank holiday. So they'll be celebrating for another few weeks to come. There was a bit of a wobble there. I think in March, early April.
After we had you on last.
Yeah, yeah.
We
And
had
I was
we
getting
did have the
worried.
fear we put the curse in you, to be honest. You're like, oh,
Yeah,
he's
yeah, I
going
was
to do
getting
it.
worried. I think there was 6 games there where they only had one win and a load of draws. Uh, but yeah, and then I remember Farke came out one game. I think they had another draw. It was away to Luton, and they were really under pressure. I think the other Sheffield and Burnley were winning, so they were into second or third. And he came out really and said after the game that I'm 100% convinced we're going to be in the Premier League next season. So he really stuck his balls on the wall there, and um, he was proved to be right. He went and ranked home then 6 games on the spin, 100 points, record breaking season. So it wasn't really a blip at all. Um, Mad to think that Burnley got 100 points as well. Didn't even get the trophy, but kind of showed the kind of gulf and quality in the league now, kind of similar to Premier League, with all the parachute money and that. So that definitely helped. But yeah, don't think I could have been looking at another season in the Championship now. It kind of gets a bit long in the tooth. As much as I enjoyed it now, I think it was definitely better to be doing that than in the doldrums in the Premier League. So it's better to have the rebuild and go again. And yeah, we'll see what next year brings. Enjoy the next few weeks anyway. Then have a look then, transfer window and all that. I'm sure there'll be a need for a few signings to come in and a few lads to head off.
The first player I heard Leeds being linked with, and obviously I'm not a diligent Leeds follower, was Beto from Everton. And
Yeah,
when I
Give
heard
me that
that, I
as
was
well.
like, lads, you may go back down straight
yeah,
back down. Like,
that certainly wasn't one to get the juices going. I remember the summer it was a summer. I suppose it was autumn or whatever during COVID. But that off season between Championship and Premier League, they were linked with the likes of Rodrigo de Paul. So I was hoping for something more along those lines. To be honest, I don't pay any heed to any of that transfer stuff, especially now. It's all
yeah.
Well, they
we'll
have much
see.
to spend.
Supposedly they did, like they have over 100 million to spend, and there last summer they sold Rutter, Archie
Mm,
Gray, and Somerville for like 35
yeah,
to
big
40
money.
million each.
Mm,
Each, so and they didn't spend a whole lot. They brought in a couple of lads on loan, your man Solomon and Joe Rothwell, and then they
mm.
bought your man Autanaka, who was one of the players of the season, centre mid from the second division in Dusseldorf. He was only 2 or 3 million. Um, who else did they buy? That was really it out of the start now, Evan. That's all they brought in. So it was really, a bit of shrewd business in the summer. Didn't spend in January when there was a lot of people who were going mad. Just, spend, we need a striker number 10. But yeah, I never won a fan of signing in January. I think if you're signing in January, you're in bother. And it's a seller's market. They'll pull your pants down. I think back to when Leeds were going for promotion 5 years ago, and this January window they went and got your man on loan, Jean-Kevin Augustin, probably the worst transfer in the history of football. Got him on loan from Leipzig with an obligation to buy 80 grand a week, and then the obligation fee was 25 million euro, and or no, it was 30 million euro, something like that. Anyway, so 20 million, and then obviously COVID happened, which kind of kicked everything in a tits up fashion. Leeds tried to get out of the clause because I think the contract was dated until the end of the season, which is normally the end of June. And they said, "Oh, end of June, we're not promoted. We can't buy him." And then Leipzig took them to court all the way, won their case, and then Leipzig won their case. Your man Jean-Kevin Augustin goes, "Right, well, they won their case, which said they had to buy me in a 5-year contract, so pay me up." So they had to pay him like 40 million or something. So that sums up January's transfer in
Right.
a nutshell.
So that is
So
what you want to avoid going
yeah,
forward. Is less of that.
yeah,
And
exactly.
and
So
there's one other thing that I found very interesting, and we were talking about it in the group, was the links with Farke being replaced very like before the start of next season, as
yeah,
he's not considered perhaps Premier League standard, having been relegated and been up and down in previous clubs. What did you make of that kind of a comment? I thought it was very disrespectful to a manager who just got them promoted. But as a Leeds fan, what did you make of it?
yeah. Well, I don't know where it came from, and the club didn't quash it straight away. But the since the chairman has backed him now for next season, yeah, I thought it was a bit premature, like especially after getting 100 points, 190 points in the last 2 seasons in the championship, which is pretty unheard of. I suppose the concerns mainly stem from his two goals of it with Norwich, but you're dealing with Norwich. Like I think he said he spent 7 million one summer going up and like 9 million or something really insignificant. So he never had any resources at all to compete with, and as well, they're a small club in general. Like so regardless of TV money and all that, like they're not pulling in big massive crowds every week, or getting attracting sponsors. So I'd say they're really really on a tight budget. So yeah, I know some people during the season have been questioned as well when there was spells of bad results, this or that. But I don't think you can really give that argument when you go and get the 100 points and win the thing. Like so, yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how he gets on. I think if we kind of keep more or less the same playing style, um, should be okay. We're not going to get pummeled like Burnley did under Company or your man at Southampton, Russell Martin, this season. Trying to play all this expansive football. It's a pretty pragmatic style of football. Well, it's not completely defensive, but so yeah, give him a go. But I think at the end of the day, if you have to pull the trigger, it needs to be done. But sure, we wait and see.
I just thought it sent a really bad precedent. Thought that did happen. So, say for example, it happened, and then Leeds had a decent season. It's just if you're a championship manager, going forward, then you think that that could become something that happens more regularly if it happens and it was to work. And I just think it's set a bad precedent for managers in the championship.
What do you mean by that, Dan?
Like just like if so Farkas got you there and then decided if they decided to sack him and then Leeds went and had a decent season, it just means that most managers then you would think naturally other managers would question and do that potentially moving forward, that like that whoever the manager is gets the club promoted. Like say even Lampard being an example, maybe sure he's been in the Premier League and it's not from, so sure we won't let Lampard take Coventry up. If Coventry got up, let's sack him again. You know what I mean? As in, I just don't
Yeah,
think it's good for managers who are in the championship, is what I'm saying.
yeah, yeah. I know it's a hard one. Like I'm sure I can't think off the top of my head, but I think not in this current crop of managers, but there probably was a few who were good promotion specialists and then probably never cut it in the Premier League. Uh,
Yeah.
but we'll see. But like, I don't even know who you'd get. Like, say even like he walked out tomorrow, like who's available really that would be standing out. Maybe Angie if he's on the market in the summer, but that's all ifs and buts. So yeah,
What's
let's
Bielsa? Bielsa's over. Is he managing Uruguay? Is he?
Uruguay. Yeah, he's still with them.
Yeah.
I think going for the World Cup. So did all right with them last year in the Copa America. I think they came third. Did they or got to the third place playoff? So
What I found over the season though was just amazing at how little goals Burnley, because Leeds actually did all right defensively as well, but Burnley
Yeah,
was it 16 goals or something in the end?
16 or something daft. Yeah,
Fucking mental, like.
they 7-0 deals in a row, and I think they're in a good position going up this next season as well, because that's what you need to be going up, and you need to be hard to beat first. Whereas I think a lot of teams kind of were a bit naive going up, and then mistakes are easily punished. So we'll see what Scotty will do next year. I'm sure he'll have a nice new cardigan and the whole lot for it.
Burnley are going up in a very different style than previous years. And with
Yeah.
yourselves and Leeds and Burnley confirmed is going up. The playoff promotion playoffs taking place. You have the Blades through already. Owen Howard's going to join us. The Blades through already to the final, and tonight you have Sunderland, but already taking a lead to a 2-1 lead to the Stadium Light. Would you expect Howard? Welcome.
All right,
Would you
Man, how are
expect?
things?
What was I saying? Would you expect Lenny to the Sunderland Blades final? Who would you expect out of those two
uh,
to
I
break it
think
up?
I think it's
Break
wide
up third?
open. To be honest, Sheffield will be the favourites. I think just because obviously they've had the better league campaign or that. But I don't know. There's something about the way Sheffield United crumbled. I don't mean by results. Like you can just have a bad run of results, but the way they lost the head, like with what's his name, Wilder, and everything else. There was a massive head loss there, and a big day out in Wembley is for calm heads. So we'll see. But again, that Sunderland team, they had a good run of it until probably February, March, and then they really kind of fell off as well. So we'll see. I'd like to see Sunderland do it though. I think they'll be
Would
a
that be a big
great.
surprise?
Sorry,
Would Sunderland be a big surprise?
if they won the final.
If they got promoted, like from the start,
Yeah.
from the start of the season, no.
Not a massive surprise, I don't think, but yeah, let's see. They have to get over Fat Frank this evening first. He's their Coventry they've been probably the only team with real momentum kind of going into the playoffs. So yeah, we'll see. I like to see Sunderland do it. I think for a few reasons. They're a proper big club as well, good fan base, and then Newcastle and Sunderland is definitely one of the best fixtures I think in England. So yeah, we'll see how it goes, anyways. But yeah, I might throw an eye on it later tonight. See how they're doing. Hopefully, the easy win for Sunderland. I seen there on Twitter earlier today there were groundsmen were making some changes. I think Coventry are big on the long throws, a bit like Arsenal disciples of Tony Pulis for the long throws, and they were moving the advertising boards as close to the line as possible, so your man can't take the big run in. So yeah, that's home advantage there for you now. So yeah.
Lenny, have you seen much of Bellingham? Joe Bellingham, has he been?
Yeah. We were just talking about it before we started there.
Sorry, coming in.
Yeah, no, just it was before we even kicked off here. But I was just saying he hasn't toured up this year at all. Like he's decent by all means, but I'd be very surprised now if someone comes. Say if Sunderland don't go up, he's probably one of the first players that could be signed. But I don't know. No, I say you'd be taking a bit of a gamble on him. What age is he? I don't know. He's younger than Jude.
1920.
Yeah,
that kind of an age group.
But he's had a good few games in the championship now. He's fairly experienced. But yeah, we'll see. He maybe he was playing better at the start of the year. I can't remember when Sunderland were going well, but the game at Ellen Road I was at, I remember he was pretty anonymous. You think those are the nights when you need to step up and show. But yeah. So yeah, that was the championship. Like it's.
It's going to be interesting next season, Lenny. You might as well enjoy and bask in the glory for another while before you start thinking about it.
Yeah, really looking forward to VAR and all that shite as well.
I look forward to it. It's fantastic. Speaking of man who hates referees, VAR, Howard, how are you?
I'm good. A tough week, obviously. A tough couple of weeks.
It's been a tough week. I never thought I'd see Stoke ball being played in Paris, but I fucking went for it.
Yeah,
what did you make of? How are you after a tough defeat? Even though you were the better team,
we were the best team in Europe. Did you not hear? No, we're. Look, I think overall in the two legs, it could have went. It could have went either way. I think I would have liked to have seen it being a bit closer in the second leg. I think if Arsenal got an early goal in the second leg, I would have been interested to see how PSG reacted and if they would either crumble or would ramp it up, because like you see the games they played against Liverpool, they were on fire, like, and I don't think I saw that level of intensity or domination in the Arsenal games. And I just wondered, is it because they had, a bit of cushion each time, or were they going to be able to ramp it up to another level? But they never seem to hit that heights, and maybe it's because they either didn't need to, or maybe tactically it was more maybe of a tactical game defensively and attacking wise. Like Arsenal probably shut them down a bit from attacking wise, I think, and didn't like they had their chances, but Arsenal had their chances as well. I think, like, I do agree with I don't agree with the best team in Europe part, but I do agree with the Donnarumma thing when he said, like, like he made some outstanding saves over the two legs, like that Saka save as well near the end, and I think even at the start, like that Rice header, I just think in them first 10-15 minutes they needed one of them chances to go in. And I think if they got one of them chances, it could have been a different game. Like,
it felt a kind of real, true reflection of the limitations that have affected this Arsenal team this year. They just couldn't get the goals that they needed, even though they're creating them.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and it's everyone knows they need a striker and that, but I think over the two legs, they still, even with the people that they had on the pitch, I think they could have scored a few goals. Like Arsenal, funnily enough, if you look at their expected goals in the Premier League, they're actually one of the highest of actually converting them, which is pretty surprising for a team that doesn't have a striker.
Man United are quite good in that as well, and that doesn't say much. Like,
considering they have 3 or 4 months without a striker. So, like, you can read in so much about all the injuries and the chances missed and Donnarumma and all that. In the end of the day, like, personally, I thought it was a very close tie, and I think it could have went either way. And I think they never. I think it would have been interesting if Saka scored that chance that was crossed into him. He blazed over the bar. If that went in and he had whatever 10-15 minutes with trying to get another goal, it would have been interesting to see how PSG would adapt to that, because like they looked nervy at the start of that second leg. They were giving the ball away. I think 1-0 lead, you're in your home fans, but you can tell they can turn on them pretty quickly, I'd say, if they didn't go a certain way. And I think the Fabian Ruiz goal really was a bit of a sucker punch, you know what I mean, against the run of play, deflection against Saliba. I just think overall it just wasn't meant to be. I know it's funny.
That little bit of luck that you do need along the way didn't seem to go went.
Exactly.
I get where you're coming from. I think
people can analyze it into the ground as much as they want and say this, that, and the other. But at the end of the day, it could have went either way, in my view. That's.
And Dan, to bring you in on that. Firstly, do you agree with Howard in terms of what you saw as a more of a neutral fan? And secondly, what did
neutral?
You make...
Now, come on, let's say not neutral.
A more neutral fan.
The first thing I'll pick up on is, like, Liverpool lost on penalties to PSG over two legs. You kind of commented on Liverpool. Liverpool actually only lost on penalties. They won.
They were hammered in the first leg. They shouldn't have got out of that.
But sure, Alisson made so many saves, just like Donnarumma. Sure, we can go round houses about it.
Yeah,
it's the same thing.
Yeah, but
it's not going to go there.
Yeah, but it's the eye test. It's like what you see statistically on the pitch as well. What are the chances? Like, how do you measure how many chances the team has had and how dominant a team has had? Like, how do you do that? Like,
you can do that if you want. But what I did say at the time, and what I'll just say again, is that Liverpool weren't good enough to beat PSG over two legs. Arsenal weren't good enough to beat PSG, and it's as simple as that. You can analyze this as cows come home, as you said, and saves this, and if somebody had to put this away. Liverpool had chances as well, by the way, before it went extra time to kill the tie.
I agree. I agree with that.
But what's the point looking back? They didn't take them, and that's, I suppose, the.
Yeah, but I think if you look if you look at that game, like if we go by your stats in over them two legs, like PSG had like 5 or 6 expected goals in that game. Like, do you know what I mean? Over the two legs, like they should have been out of sight before they even got to Liverpool. Like we as I said, you can go around the houses talking about. They weren't good enough to win. I think Arsenal had as many had more chances to win against PSG than Liverpool had. But anyway, exactly, didn't take them. And I'm not talking about taking them or not. I'm just thinking on another day it could have went a different way. Like,
Well, they had 2 days and they still couldn't do it. Like,
2 days, over 2
you
days.
have 2 legs of football. It's not bad luck when you're beating over 2 legs, right?
Look, that's
Yeah.
just my opinion. That's what I thought. That's how I felt after the game. I didn't think we were outplayed or outfought or anything in the 2 legs. I just think it went like that Dembele shot that he hit the first leg. That goes in once every 50 times. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
what I'll
Howard,
say
do you
is I
think,
think
or
that
sorry, Dan, just before you go into
Yeah.
it, can I just think, do you think if Arteta hadn't made the comments he did
this is exactly what to
after the
say.
game, that's what you're going to say,
Yeah,
right? Well,
100%.
if he
Yeah,
hadn't made
100%.
those comments, it would be a far more like, okay, they were the better team or they won over 2 legs, fair enough. But Arteta just threw a load of
Yeah.
fuel onto a fire, like.
This is exactly it, because Slot came in after the game and said that pretty much over the 2 games, Liverpool weren't good enough in the first leg. They were beaten on penalties, and that can obviously go either way. But he did say that PSG were a hell of a side, and Liverpool were unlucky based on the fact that they won the group stage of the Champions League to have got PSG. And in hindsight, they were very unlucky, as you see now the PSG are into the final. So I do think that, he just hasn't done himself too many favours with a couple of his comments the last couple of days. Going on about points differentials with Liverpool, and we would have won the league and season gone by. I just think a lot of that stuff, all it's doing is it's feeding Arsenal fans into the already, I suppose, negative feeling that there is, because it's a season that they did think that they were going to go on and win the league based on Man City's drop off. So I do think that he has played into that. And it hasn't done anyone any favours. But I agree with Howard. Like, in that opening 20 minutes, like, Arsenal were all over PSG and had plenty of chances. And if one of them goes in, and it is a different game, and I think even if the second chance had went in, PSG, of course, then would have been really, really nervy. There was still, 10, 12 minutes to go at that stage. But look, I think that the best side are in the final. PSG are anyway. You can argue maybe toss of the coin, maybe the other one, whether or not Inter deserve to be there. But I think PSG deserve to be in the final.
Yeah, I agree.
Based on what we've seen.
I 100% agree. I'm not holding back on PSG, and I think Arsenal should be there instead of them or anything. And I think what disappointed me is that, like, I don't think they hammered us to the point that I could see with my own eyes that they were the better team. You know what I mean? I expected them in that second leg to just tear us apart. Like, you know what I mean? I expected them to go and beat us 2-3-0. And like us not get a touch in the game, but they didn't, it didn't go that way, and that's probably Arteta's comments obviously didn't help the matter afterwards at all, I think. But like, I also, not the better team thing, but I also could see where he came from in a point of view that, like, there it was a couple of world class saves away from going through. But look, I know you're clutching at straws talking about
Yeah, the other point I will make is that Arsenal in the first half pressed really, really high and really, really well, but they weren't able to do that second half. And
they were wrecked. They were dust. Yeah,
he played his full side against Bournemouth a couple of days earlier. He played the starting 11 pretty much, and they played a lot of that game as well. And then they obviously went on and lost that game. So I think that did impact the second half, because they weren't able to press. And then once PSG got to settle into the rhythm, like they did when they played Liverpool as well, when PSG play, there's no one better in Europe at the moment to watch, I think, in regards to playing the ball around.
Yeah,
but anyway, I think
I agree with you, Dan. And like, I think, I agree with you. And also, I think at this level, when you're dominating for 20 minutes of that, you have to score. Even if you don't have the legs in the second half or whatever, that's kind of irrelevant. You need to take your chances at this level, and that didn't happen. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and you do need to slice it up. Look what Inter Milan did in the other game in the end. They stuck Cherby up front, got the goal, and won it within the last minute. And you do need that. That does look at Mr. Moss with Man United there as well against Leon. Them kind of fits when they go for you, though. Do you know what I mean? Like that, you do need a bit of luck along the way as well, I think, in Europe. So yeah, it wasn't to be for Arsenal.
To be fair, we are talking about the other semi-final is probably one of the best 2 legs of European football I've ever watched. It was outrageous, goals galore, drama. And the only thing that really surprised me out of it was that Barcelona just didn't score another goal to take the penalties or to win it outright. It was a fantastic result for Inter Milan, and it's going to be a really intriguing final. Len, if you had to pick PSG, Inter, what side of the fence are you putting your flag on?
I think PSG. Yeah, I think they're the best side. I think since the quarterfinals, they've been the standout team. Like, I have no skin in the game as to who I prefer wins. Like, if Inter wins, I'd be delighted for them as well. I'm just glad it's to teams outside of the usual suspects, I suppose.
No,
And
no white jerseys.
no, I wouldn't mind a white jersey in the final. No. Don't worry,
I'd
Howard.
say you would, I suppose.
Don't
One of
worry,
them would probably be
Howard.
wearing white, will they? Look at the scarlet colours. One of them probably be wearing white, would they?
I suppose
Maybe.
PSG, maybe whoever loses the
Yeah.
toss.
I just say like the way things are lining up with Inter Milan, like the last bit ago, you wouldn't put it past them. You know, it's just their year. Like, you know, you wouldn't put it past them winning it. Your man Sumner made some outrageous saves as well. Like, he was just like that save when it was like basically a counterattack 3-on-2 or whatever. And your man, he could have finished it better. I can't remember the man's name. But Sumner made an outrageous save for that. So, like, you know, you just see and the last minute goal to equal, like, you could kind of is it their year, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I wouldn't put it
Yeah,
past
it's interesting, and they have that experience of being in the final 2 years ago to City, and that should stand to them. And it's always a positive when they're scraping the bar for positives as a United fan. When you're seeing someone who plays the same system getting to the Champions League 2 or 3 years, you know, there's hope. Someday somehow things may improve.
If only you had the same recruitment as Inter Mossi.
Yeah, a dominant force in
sell
Italy.
Onana for 50 million and buy Sommer for 5 million.
Yep. Well, I'd sell him back. If you want to give me any sort of money, I'll sell him back.
Well, like a Nana job, one penny in the pound, 1 penny in the pound for Onana.
Joe, lads, honestly, when you're watching because I haven't watched an awful lot of Spanish football this season, but by God, like over them 2 games, watching Yamal, I remember watching him in the European in the summer, like, and he was quality, but he's on a different level, isn't he? Like,
it's hard to believe, like, the attacking threat they have, like, and they kept giving them the ball, like that. Like, if they had 1 or 2 solid defenders, surely they'd dominate world football. Like, you know what I mean? Like that, like their attacking threat, like the high line defensively they were playing. You know, I think we talked about before. It was like you're watching Spurs, like an Ange masterpiece. It was just it seemed mad, but it kind of brings you back to the point that that's the kind of football people want to see. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
That's the exciting football that everyone wants to watch. Like, you know, like the whole Pep, and you can put Arteta in it as well. Like, you know, that style of football of like tactical, like, you know, in the PSG game, like, you know, like the PSG Liverpool game was an more exciting game than the Arsenal PSG game, because the Arsenal PSG game is more structured, more tactical, more, but like it's less entertaining. You know what I mean? It's a lot less entertaining, and it brings you back to the whole thing. Like, are we like, is the Premier League in general getting very structural and very you know, predictable, low blocks, crosses into the box? Are we getting very like that when you look at, let's say, the game last night, the La Liga 4-3 again with Madrid and Barca? Like, you know, like that's who people, that's who what football fans across the world are going to see or want to see, and then it'll get to the point that the Premier League won't be the competition that will be getting all this money for TV rights, because it's just going to be watching a paint dry. So there's a conversation they had around that in the years to come, and how that unfolds. Like,
absolutely,
I say it's very much the case now.
What was that, Len?
Yeah,
I think it's very much the case now. I think you see individuality is really not a thing in the Premier League the last few years compared to the other leagues. It's all systems based, and it's.
There's no outstanding. Okay, you can have Salah. There's no really outstanding attackers young attackers in the Premier League. Like, you look at the front line that PSG have, the front line Madrid have, the front line Barca have. Like, they're better than any players that are probably playing in the Premier League from attacking side. So, you know, there's that aspect of things as well. I know.
Interesting. Speaking of the big game of the Premier League, we had a 2-2 draw.
Oh, big game.
Which was what we thought was going to be a big game, but it was an entertaining game. I'll give it that. One of my favorite parts of it was Miles Lewis-Skelly's face as he stood in the guard of honor as the Liverpool fans looked out. He looked like someone was stabbing him slowly and repeatedly. But he kept.
I'm sure he got a few clicks and a few likes for that, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, he was not. You saw a man suffering there, but it was an entertaining game. Dan, Liverpool started off a bar Saka missing an unbelievable chance. Liverpool kicked Liverpool into gear, and they had an impressive first half.
Yeah, I do. It's a really weird one. It's that whole cliche though. I think it really was a game of two halves because I think like, Arsenal were really bad in the first half, and I thought Liverpool were quite poor in the second half. Now, I do think that Arsenal, in fairness to them, like they came back into it, it would have been easy for them just to have, nearly sat deep and try and just do damage limitation, not concede too many more. But in fairness, they came out second half a different team and played good stuff as Liverpool did in the first half. I think it was a very mixed. You hear that?
Who's that? A
You hear
dog
that?
or a child barking?
One second. Give me a second.
I'll
Go
just,
to
Howard,
I'll
hand.
just,
go on, give us your perspective
well,
there.
no,
How,
I'll just talk on the first, like Dan said, game for 2 hours. Look, you can't argue with a 2-2, 2 goals in under each half, but um, I thought Arsenal in the first half were very poor defensively. I thought they were a shambles at the back. I think the goal they gave away, like Saliba, was nowhere near Gakpo, and I think that ball from Salah then for the second one, again, it's the same goal that they conceded in the Emirates. Behind Kivior, like two very poor defensive mistakes. But I didn't think Arsenal, apart from that, I didn't think Arsenal were like atrocious in the first half. I thought defensively they were very bad. But they kept the ball. They kept the ball a lot. They had a couple of chances. They nicked the ball high up a few times. Like I just thought like defensively they were shambles at the back. And I think you can't do that against Liverpool with an attacking player they have. Like, and they'll punish you. And that's what it is. I think Salah, like, he had a quiet game in certain aspects, but when he got the ball at his feet, some of the passes he made were just clinical. And they do that so often. Liverpool, they play them balls over the top and they play them quickly. They don't take a couple of touches. They play quickly in behind, and they have runners that'll make the run. So I thought, it was a classic Liverpool performance in the first half. My aspect.
Sorry about that, lads.
All right.
Yeah, no, I think Howard summed it up fairly well there. Not as well. I did think like Salah, he didn't assist or score one of the goals, but I thought in the first half you could see just how good and how clinical he can be. And I think Diaz, in fairness as well, is just another one that playing in that false nine, he kind of has made that position to a point his own when he's played there. I think he's done a really good job. And it was nice for him to come out afterward and say that he wants to stay, because I thought there was rumours about he was going to be heading off in the summer, that they couldn't agree a new deal, but he did come out there again and said that. So, I thought Liverpool were really good first half, but they really dropped the ball. You mentioned Howard about defence. Yeah, I think Saliba's probably one that, he probably, I think he got a bit of criticism, but he has been a sloppy, I think is probably the word to describe him, in the main over
I
the
think
last 6 weeks or so.
Yeah, I think the Gabriel loss beside him, you can definitely tell it makes a massive difference. They were saying, I can't remember who was saying, some pundit was saying, made a good point, like Saliba is the better player, but Gabriel is the better leader at the back, like, and I think he looks a bit lost sometimes. Saliba trying to do both, because I don't think he's a natural get the lads together, shouting, pointing, roaring, and all that kind of stuff. So I think he needs maybe that person beside him that keeps him in positionally correct. And I think you've seen him slip off, lose lapses of concentration during the game in a few games, the Madrid game, the game at the weekend. So I definitely think that the Gabriel loss has impacted his performances, definitely. Yeah.
Did Martinelli look good when he went through the middle? Didn't he? I
Yeah,
thought he was very more effective than he has
I don't
been.
know, like,
Right, yeah.
this comes back to the kind of Arteta structure of, like, I don't know why they haven't tried that more often. Like, they played Trossard through the middle a good few times, but they need pace in behind, like, and like when people line up, when you line up with Mourinho, straight away he's not going to be running behind, like. So I think it was a clever move to do that. And I'm surprised they haven't done it more often in the league when they were missing your Havertz and Jesus. So he looked dangerous. He looked dangerous down the middle now, I must say. And there's a few times he wasn't found that he was nearly through, like. So it was an interesting to see him going. I thought he took his goal very well, the header, little flick. Probably it looks easier than it is, but them little flicks into the corner can be, but there's not much pace on the crosses. I thought it took the goal very well.
And just to say that a couple of that, like, again, it's been the story of the season. Like when Nunes came on again, like just how poor he was and caught offside 8 times, couldn't do anything right. And it's just, I'm really hoping that somewhere that they do. I'm just really hoping that somewhere to do the right thing here. And he's the first one to kind of, it sounds as if he's going to be going, but it was just, you see him coming on and he's no impact. See Chiesa up in the stands, like, and he's obviously surplus requirements as well, but like he'd have more. of a footballing brain and impact than Nunes when he came on. He just
He still needs a appearance, doesn't he, to get a?
No, he got it. Yeah, I know he has it.
Yeah,
Yeah. So he will be a Premier League winner, but he definitely won't be there next season either. It's clear that Slot doesn't fancy him. But yeah, I think anyway, it was an entertaining game though to conclude there overall. I think it was,
it was an entertaining game for a game that didn't really mean a whole pile.
Yeah, exactly.
There was the main talking point that came out of it. Ross, you probably want to talk about
that. What did you say, Howard?
The main talking point that
Trent.
Yeah, the Trent. Like I think that took probably the most headlines off it in the general.
Yeah. I suppose I don't overly want to talk about it because I just don't understand it. And I think it's the height of ignorance and stupidity and ungratefulness to treat a player who's been at your club for that long, 20 years, like that. But I obviously, as I thought Andy Robertson put it the best and said, like, I can't tell people how to feel. He explained why he was sad he was leaving or upset that he was leaving, but I just don't get it. It makes no sense to me. I just don't understand. Like, I have kids in school telling me that he's a traitor and he's horrible and they're never going to support him again.
They've read that on social media.
Jersey. And I'm like, you're not even from Liverpool. You can't even use the Scouser accent or Scouser claim. Like, so look, that's what. Look, Dan, you kind of said your piece on it as well. You kind of believe or have a similar.
I felt bad. I felt bad for him. To be honest, I did. I felt bad for him that it was like that, and then it just showed how fickle it was. Then he was over a free kick. Arsenal got down to 10 men and everyone was cheering him on to score. So like you can't win, can you? Like it's I do think that look, the fact that it all is kind of festered out around the fact that this has been on the cards for a while, and then the fact that he hadn't maybe if he had have been more upfront and congruent about it and authentic from the get-go, whether or not that would have helped him in regards to the way it is now, I don't know. It could have just lingered. It could have been a long season of just this shit for him.
You reckon he should have heard from Klopp, announced it early, and embraced the love until you leave?
But could you do that? Could you do that though if they're going for the league? Do you want to put something in the pot, like you know what I mean? Like
yeah. I'm talking about nearly even before that. Nearly, I'm not even talking about like this. It sounds as if the first contact with Madrid was made 17, 18 months ago. So it's kind of a thing where Liverpool obviously were holding out that he'd change his mind. He'd see what slot ball was all about, and that he'd be able to kind of turn them. You wonder, look, it's all, again, you wonder, would that have eased it? Probably not, as Massey, as you said there. It seems to be the fact that, that Liverpool mentality. I think Carragher actually explained it very well in that kind of mob mentality. You're with us or you're against us, and that's just the way the culture is in Liverpool. So it is different to other clubs. Well, I just think it was. I didn't like it anyway personally. I think that he wants to go. He's gone out on a good note. We've won the league. Why get into that kind of whole negative that he's a lizard, he's a traitor? But people have been. If you look at social media, like it's been really. As you're talking about your kids there at school, like it's been festering and it's been so negative. You had Paddy Pimblett coming out calling him a lizard. Like these things don't help. Like you know what
exactly
I mean?
Like that. That's I kind of wanted to bring up that point. Like well, first of all, Carragher. I think Carragher coming out, giving him, selling him out.
It didn't help either.
First of all, didn't help, but also I think like this day and age, like with the trolling online that goes on and all that whole environment, like it's gotten to the stage now that it's gotten so volatile in the footballing world that you can't do anything without people latching on your back and wanting to burn your t-shirt or burn your jersey. It's gotten to. It's got, and I think it's like it's the online platform. I think it's gotten to a point like that. It's great, and it like on Twitter and like it's gone. This trolling side of football has gotten. I think it's gone off the charts.
People trying to see it's like just get attention by doing the kind of saying the most outrageous thing or that like Yeah, I don't know. I think it's a bit daft. I think the days of a one club man are long gone now. Like, that we were lucky to kind of see the last generations of them, especially since like the Bosman rule and all that. Like players are, and the way football is kind of more global, or especially in the European side here, like no one's, I don't think, is ever going to stay at one club for all their careers. It's going to be very, very unlikely. Like, and I don't blame them for going. I think. Yeah, it's an interesting juncture for Liverpool. They did well to hold on to Salah and Van Dijk, so there is a bit of a spine there. But I still think that the rebuild is only starting. I think for Slot really, as to what the kind of his kind of twist on the team will be like going forward. So we'll see.
Yeah, I just to think, like, Gerrard, like, let's say he had chances to go, like, if he went for free to Madrid at some stage in that period when he was going to go, I don't know would he have got that dog's abuse that Trent got. Now, maybe he would have, but
I
There
think
was
he would have.
similar. There was similar when he was being linked with
Yeah,
Chelsea. There was similar.
There
well,
was the
yeah.
story with the supposed gangsters that made him stay or something.
They're
Liverpool
called
gangsters. I
Scousers,
actually
like.
He was tied. He was tied down, and they just said, "You ring, make the call, you're staying."
Tony Soprano paid him a visit.
And yeah. Do you think, Dan? Do you think Liverpool fans are a bit different to other fans in that aspect? Do you think, like, if that was Saka, or if that was someone else, I don't know, some other team, do you think the Liverpool fans are a bit more?
Yeah, I think it is. It's look, you look at it, and even as a city, like they boo the national anthem, they hate the Queen. There's like a real mob mentality in the city, and I
Yeah,
think that the fact that he is, of course, it's the whole fact that he's Scouse born and bred, came through the youth system. Like, I suppose I don't think it'd be the same at any club. Like Rashford didn't get that much, Like, Rashford being an example with United, he did get flack from some, but he never really got booed, did he, Massey? There was no real like.
No, but we were happy enough. There was no issue with him
Yeah, I
going
was
there.
gonna say, yeah. I know it's a different setup, but I'm trying to think of a player like that's a high profile. Think about Trent as a strange one because he's never been the most like in regards to personality on the pitch. I never really found him that he had that the brand that they're talking about now around him. I've never felt that as a Liverpool
yeah,
fan that there was that Trent had this brand, but it seems to be this big thing about him going to Spain. Like when you think about like the amount of media attention this has got in the Premier League. Like he's not England's best player. He's far from it.
we didn't
You know what I
start
mean?
winning some of his games.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? So it's like you think of just the media attention this has gathered, and really like it's been such a big story. As you said, it nearly to a point how it overshadowed some of the league celebrations. And you're right, like it kind of has
Yeah,
because this has been a real stir in the media on a day to day basis, and you kind of wonder like Trent is brilliant. He has been brilliant for it, but like Liverpool have lost better players than Trent, and like the league has better players than Trent in it. Just I think it's been a bit over the top, but of course it's been fueled by social media. And then
yeah,
I don't think he probably has helped himself. You think of a few things that he did do when he came out a couple of months ago and said he wanted to win the Ballon d'Or. Like that was nearly, I think we talked about the podcast. The writing was on the wall,
that
probably
was the hit.
there. The fact that even when he scored against Leicester, he was just again, I'm not talking about my future, not talking about my future. And I get the part of wanting to win the league, but both Salah and Van Dijk were given breadcrumbs. They were given something. Trent was always like they were talking about, the zone to go by, that they walk by at the end. What's that called? The
Fan zone.
Mixed up.
mix up. Yeah, that like Trent had gone by there for like the last 14, 15 months and never stopped once. Like as in, he was just completely nearly on a media on a media ban for himself of speaking about it at all. And you wonder whether or not this has obviously been in the pipeline. Could he have come forward with something of an indication? But I think the Ballon d'Or, once he said that, for me, it was like he's not going to stay. And I know he's going to be a loss. I see Liverpool there today. Had scouts over. There's talk that it's serious and concrete talk about Frimpong, right back there. He's a speed merchant down the right for Leverkusen. So it'd be interesting to see like if they go have him and they have Bradley. Do you know what I mean? I think for me, if they by Trent going though, they need to get another creative player into the team. So I know they have some like
Frimpong
Salah.
does offer that though.
Yeah,
He does
he
offer
does.
creativity. He does offer
Yeah,
goals.
yeah.
A different type of player.
Different style.
Obviously,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. I do, but I think that if you ended up getting the talk is that like his release cost is like 30 million or something, and it can be paid in like 4 installments. So like, if he comes in and that works, and that's the start, as you said, any of the slot rebuild, he is going to. I think they will get a right back. I'd imagine Joe Gomez will move on, so I do think they're going to need a right back to compete with Bradley. Whether he starts or not, I don't know, but definitely to compete with them, and along with a couple of other players, I think, because there's definitely a question mark, as I've talked about here a couple of times in the pod, over a few Liverpool players and maybe as well a bit of competition for place. You could see Robertson there, as much as he done well going forward. Like when Saka was standing him up, he was like, the Robertson of a couple of years ago, he's straight and aggressive and straight on him. And I just think he obviously has lost a year, but also I think his confidence isn't what it used to be either. And you can see in him, you can get at him. He is a weak link. I think in the side as a whole. So hopefully that'll get rectified as
Just
well.
one last thing on Trent, like his style of football and the way he plays the right back position, and he could never play the midfield position. You know, he with his passing range there, he couldn't play that. But like the right back positions suit him so well. But he was also such a rare profile of a player in that position, and it'll be interesting to see how much that impacts Liverpool, because he isn't the greatest defender, but some of the passes and stuff he makes. And they're not assists, they're like second assists or whatever. It's hard to kind of gauge, you know, how important of a player he will be, and that connection he has with Salah. So I know you're saying there, like Moss, that Frimpong is great, like but it's a completely different type of creativity. So it'll be.
I think they need another one.
It'll be interesting to see you'll only know when he's gone. How much of a player he probably was for Liverpool, and it could be nothing or it could be a lot.
Yeah, I would say if Liverpool have won, like when he was out, like Liverpool have won a lot of games that Trent hasn't played. But when you look at when it came up there at the weekend, like he's the highest assists ever for a defender in the Premier League. So like you're losing a massive amount of quality, and that goes without saying, you know.
Yeah. Look, there's a couple other big quick games we want to fly through in terms of a big game in terms of the fight for the Premier League or the Champions League spot.
West Ham United.
No, we're not talking with them. They did the double on us this year, fucking wankers. Right, Nottingham Forest. Killer last minute goal. Len. Leicester played good football. Maybe they're keeping Ruud van Nistelrooy for the championship, but it was a sickening blow for them to concede near the end, isn't it?
Yeah, they're kind of wobbling there now. Forest. You know, they look to shoe in for the top 4 or 5 Champions League places, and it's coming apart.
Yeah,
I was
down
kind
to
of
seventh, like.
It's kind of always on the cards, like when one of these big clubs like Man City or that, and then they'll just kind of get their shit together, and when the running comes, like, you know, it's like back in the golf days with Tiger, lads would be on the Sunday going up the back line, and then they'd see Tiger Woods on the leaderboard, you know, a few shots off, and every hole they see another shot gained, and then they just fill the togs. And Leicester themselves did it a few years under Rodgers. Remember, like, you know, what could have been a lot different for them. You know, think of the cash they missed out on, and now they're staring down the barrel of the championship, and the EFL are looking seriously at them because they wanted to sanction them before they went up last year, because they were not supposedly compliant with this financial fair play shite. But it doesn't make sense, but apparently it's a different set of rules in the EFL and different in the Premier League, so they're like basically out of the jurisdiction of the EFL this past season. So apparently they could be getting a points deduction in the championship. So yeah, good luck to them anyways.
You don't have to worry about that, Len, anyway.
Another year, give it.
I hope it's a better year than the people up have come up this year had, and you're not just going straight back down. But yeah, like Marinakis coming onto the pitch to lambast fucking Nunes, Espirito
he put
Santos
out a statement there.
Yeah.
No, he put out a statement there, Stephen. He put out a statement clarifying, because who was the lad that got hurt? Remember, he got absolutely milled off the post.
Yeah.
And he said he was out on the pitch because he was worried about him, and he wanted to talk to the doctor, and he was wondering why he didn't get brought off quicker. But that's an easy thing to draft up in hindsight. With a day is grace to kind of think, oh, how would I explain this one off? Like, your man has form for the plot. Remember, he was it tweeted during the game about the decisions. Was that this year or last year? I can't remember. It was
last year, I think, yeah.
And I remember the funniest bit was someone was walking out Craven Cottage then and along the street, and they found your man's like VIP lanyard fucked in the ditch.
To be fair, I just assumed he was attacking him because he's actually handed over a large portion of his shares into a holding company, because he already has Panathinaikos or Olympiacos, sorry, where he's and there he was expecting both teams to be in Europe, and you're under the UEFA rules he couldn't have ownerships in both. So when I saw him losing it and they were down in 7th, I just assumed that he was, attacking him for all those.
It's a pity though, I think, isn't it? What do you think? I think it's a bit of a pity though that it has kind of fizzled out for them, because I think it would have been good for the likes of them, I mean, in so long, but do have a European pedigree, to have had a crack at it. Just, it would have been Yeah, it would be nice to
It's
think.
still in there. They're
It
a
is
point
still
behind
there,
them.
yeah.
Well,
Would have been
And
a
they
great
have to play
story.
Chelsea in the last game of the season, so that will be like that could be a
Mm.
direct shootout if they keep it up as it is. But it just looks like it is slipping away, and Chelsea did their best to join them at the weekend. Newcastle had a comfortable enough victory, and Jackson getting the red card and missing now for 2 3 games. Like
Silly red, wasn't it? Silly red.
it
Silly.
was silly red, yeah, it was madness. But you're looking at it now, and are you comfortable in second place, Howard? Do you reckon
I would
second?
say
Second
we're
place?
comfortable Champions League, but I don't know if we're going to get. I'm not sure if second is nailed down. I
There's
think
a
we
good
get
point to that field when you look at it, though. When you look at the table, there's a good point. Like,
good point. Yeah, yeah. Like, look, we Southampton away last game, so that should be a four. Like, we only need one more point to get Champions League. So I'm not worried about that. But second place could be up for grabs depending on the Newcastle game. We've Marino out, Trossard is out injured now as well. So we're really at the bare bones. Rice is out injured. So you wouldn't put against Newcastle going there getting something at the Emirates. So at least they have a week break. But yeah, I don't think second place is sewn up at all, Moss. But yeah, I think the Champions League part is sorted obviously. But
how much of a blow do you think that would be in regards to narrative if Arsenal weren't to finish runners up?
Like it wouldn't like personally it wouldn't bother me at all. But for the I feel like with the Champions
Is he gone?
Oh, it was me.
He's about to start fibbing there, he was. So just the Zoom decided to
It's like
freeze him
this
for a
fella
minute.
is talking
Try
shite,
talk
so we're
center.
just going to cut him off and leave him frozen.
I wouldn't for the narrative of that going into next season at all. I would it probably would create a narrative. I think going into next season would have any impact if we finish fourth, third, or second.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, did you get any?
Oh, you dropped out there. I think the AI must have got a bullshit overload there.
Basically, we're going to finish second. That's what I was going to say.
Right, look, there's loads. I'm just going to gloss over United being absolutely atrocious in the worst game I've ever watched in a 2-0 defeat to the West Ham. Spurs doing equally bad, and 16th and 17th, we'll fight it out next week. We'll do a bit of a preview for the Europa League next week, but by God, it doesn't set a high standard for it. Dan, will you take us through our fantasy football and our Super
Yeah.
Six, which basically I've turned into a culture family event?
Yeah, I have the Super Six here on first. So yeah, it looks as if it's going to be a Coulter that will win it. Now my brother has been there since the start, but he is feeling the pressure. He has been making a lot of comments in the family WhatsApp around this, and he's started to crack a bit with my brother in particular. My other brother Alex is 4 points behind him now, and he keeps messaging him every weekend saying, "What's your lotto picks this week, Alex?" You can see that he's starting to get rattled by this thing because he has led it since I'd say near enough the first week. He wants to be at top near enough since the get go. But yeah, so that there's I suppose maybe you could say there's only I think there's only 2 weeks is left as well. So like you really think it's between first, second, and third. So I'm on 4-5-2. My brother's on 4-5-9, and my other brother's on 4-6-3. So you'd imagine the winner would come from there, bar someone does something crazy. But the likelihood is, you see, is that some people will have the same picks, unless you know what I mean. Like I can't see it being anything other than the three there. So we'll go through the games quickly for this week, yeah.
Yeah, fly through them there, Dan. Yeah.
Yeah. So Moss, Everton, Southampton.
Oh, fucking hell, Dan. Um, Everton
Last game at Goodison.
2-1.
Last game at Goodison.
2-1 Everton.
Okay,
I don't know
2-1
why I'm
Everton.
letting Southampton score, but yeah.
Lenny, West Ham, Forest.
West Ham at home, are they?
Yeah.
I'm going to say 1-1 draw. More wobbly for Forest.
Okay. Howard, Brentford, Fulham.
Oh, jeez, classic. I'll go 1-0 Brentford.
Okay. And I have another classic here for you, Mossy. Leicester, Ipswich.
Oh, jeez.
Do you know what? Leicester are finding a bit of form. They're playing a bit of football. It's like they've been freed and they can remember what scoring a goal is because they haven't done it in so long. Are Leicester at home or away?
Leicester at home, yeah.
Oh, Ipswich, right. 1-0, 1-1.
Yeah. There's a few filth ones here. Anyway, Lenny, Brighton at home to Liverpool.
Ooh.
7-0 to Brighton.
I think I'm going to see Brighton 2, Liverpool 0. I've seen Slots on the piss. Liverpool lads are on the piss.
Yeah.
Sure, why bother? Like, they should just play
Why bother?
their under-19s there for the next few games. Let the lads have an extended rest and then have a good pre-season and go at it again. Like, that'd be my
Why not? And I'll leave the last one to you, Howard. Arsenal, Newcastle.
Oh, Arsenal, Newcastle. I'll go 2-1 Arsenal. 2-1 to the
In
Gunners.
hope or belief.
Champions League in the bag, second place in the bag. Yeah, we'll get a trophy for that surely.
So for the winner of Super 6, that's €100 cold hard cash to the winner, and only a couple of weeks left in it. And as for fantasy football, it was a good week for my brother Alex, who is now top of our league. He's hit the front for the first time. And interestingly enough, if you remember last year, he put in Mateta near the end of the season, and he is the one that won it for him on the final day of last season. But he put in Eze there a couple of weeks ago. If anyone's been following Crystal Palace, nobody else in the top 5 or 6, I think, had Eze, or like he's like the only one. And he's reaped the benefits in particular of him over the last couple of weeks. So he's in the lead now. It's a slender lead, but he has that experience to getting over the line. So he's leading it. He got 80 points, which is a fair return as well at the weekend. And he has where are we? He has is it a 19-point lead over Padraig Clark, who's in second, who's been in and around there for a number of weeks there now as well. I used my bench boost at the weekend, and look, there's not much to be said about it. It was actually the bench boost part went okay. My starting 11 was dodging. I had Salah as captain because I felt I had to go for a differential to try and get back into it. So I went for Salah captain, and that obviously didn't pay off. So I'm fighting for a potential Champions League spot. Will be the best that I'll be getting. But it's tight now. There's look, third and fourth there as well. Like there's maybe third. I'd say the top 3. I don't know about fourth. Yeah, the top 3 I'd say there it's between 20 points to the lad in third, Brian O'Sullivan as well. So I think the Poet and myself and Christian and Palmieri will be fighting it out for the European spots this time round. But 2 weekends to go. So if you're behind at this stage now, you kind of have to take a punt. So I don't know who's most likely captain for next week, but like you kind of have to go against whoever you think is going to, that everyone else is going to pick, and make a few kind of alterations to try and maybe win it from here now. It'll be a punt somewhere. But yeah, my brother's up for back-to-back. I told him at the weekend that if he wins it, he should get a Crystal Palace jersey. Considering it's been 2 years in a row that they would have won it for him. So yeah, Eze got 16 points. Like I'm looking at Eze here, like it's sick in your hole. He put him in, and like he's got like his last 3 returns are 9, 10, and 16. So he's a man in form. A man who I think might be in demand in the summer as well. Already has a release clause of like 68 million, which is fucking small enough money, really. So it'd be interesting if someone goes to pull the trigger on that. So that is fantasy football. And again, there's a jersey sponsored by the missing man, Beck O'Connor, who will be sponsoring that lovely jersey for whoever wins the fantasy football. I don't know, lads, have you anything you want to add there? The rivalry for the who's going to be buying the dinner, is that still on, or is that...
That is decided weeks ago. I will be buying everybody ground fucking mints because that's what I'll be able to afford at this stage.
We'll take it.
No, I've nothing else to add, lads. Anyone, if anyone else speak now or forever hold your peace. But thanks a million for joining us. Welcome. We had a break last week, but we're back in at it for the last couple of weeks of the season, and hopefully someday we'll get to the point where 68 million is pocket change to us all.
I just think for him, I didn't look at it going, if you get in for 68 as I think he's a decent enough player. Like, he paid 90 for what, Anthony? So like, you know what I mean? Like,
get him in.
Nobody ever should use that as a benchmark. And on that note, I'm going to leave it, guys, before we go down a wormhole of lambasting United's turban.
Can I just ask? Maybe not Lenny, because it wouldn't be realistic that he'd be going to Leeds now. But like, would you take him at Arsenal and United? I'd take him at Liverpool anyway.
Oh yeah, I'd take him at Arsenal. Yeah.
Who?
Eze.
Oh, I thought you were saying Anthony. Sorry.
But you know what? In fairness, the way he's playing at the moment, fucking hell.
Yeah, well,
Oh.
Betty's are going to give us good money, and that'll be the end of that. Gentlemen, thanks a million for joining us. Len,
Anyway, yeah.
enjoy the celebrations. Dan, we'll
Yeah.
we'll hear you
Thanks,
celebrating
lads.
anyway, and I'll cross my fingers and toes for next week. Bye, Howard.
Bye.
Bye.
See you later, guys.
See you, folks.
See you, lads.